Imagine walking into a grand mansion, walls adorned with priceless paintings, chandeliers casting sparkling light across marble floors, and the subtle hum of wealth echoing in every corner. It's a place where opulence feels normal, where success is the air you breathe. Now imagine, in the very same house, someone lives in quiet obscurity, a maid, working tirelessly behind the scenes, often unseen, her world far removed from the glittering riches surrounding her. And yet, within her lies a story no one could anticipate. This is the story of that maid's daughter, a young girl with a gift so extraordinary that it defies expectations, stereotypes, and the social barriers that often seek to define her. The day everything changed began with a simple request. The billionaire homeowner asked her to play the piano for fun. At first, it seemed like a casual favor, a light-hearted diversion from the day's busy routine. But what happened next was nothing short of magical. The moment her fingers touched the keys, a transformation rippled through the room. What started as a modest performance blossomed into a stunning display of talent that left everyone breathless. The wealthy guests stopped their conversations. The staff paused their chores, and even the billionaire himself was visibly moved. But this story is not just about a dazzling musical moment. It's about the collision of worlds, of wealth and humility, privilege and struggle, and the invisible talents waiting to be recognized in places society often overlooks. It's a story that challenges us to look beyond appearances, to question our assumptions, and to celebrate the extraordinary in the ordinary. And it all began with a simple piano request for fun. The mansion stood as a gleaming symbol of success, an architectural marvel nestled in a quiet, exclusive neighborhood where luxury was not just appreciated, but expected. Every detail told a story of wealth. The polished marble floors that stretched endlessly, the crystal chandeliers casting a warm glow over priceless artworks, the lush gardens meticulously sculpted as if nature itself were an accessory. To anyone passing by, it was the epitome of the American dream realized, a castle built by years of relentless ambition, shrewd investments, and good fortune. Yet, beneath the shimmering exterior, hidden from the casual observer's gaze, lay a world of stark contrasts. Within the very walls of this palace of prosperity, a quiet undercurrent of inequality pulsed, one that was rarely acknowledged but always present. It was a world inhabited by those who maintained the mansion's grandeur, the staff who cleaned, cooked, and cared for the estate, living lives so different from the owners that their worlds might as well have been on separate continents. Among these workers was the maid, a woman whose hands had scrubbed every corner of the house, and whose presence was both essential and invisible. Day after day, she moved silently through the halls, attending to her duties with a diligence born of necessity. She wore a uniform that marked her place in this hierarchy, one designed not to draw attention, but to keep her in the background. Her laughter was rare, her joys small and private, and her dreams often deferred to the demands of survival. The maid's daughter shared none of the mansion's extravagance. She lived in a modest apartment in a nearby neighborhood, a place marked by the everyday struggles of working-class life. While the mansion's halls echoed with classical music piped through elegant speakers, the girl's home resonated with the sounds of a different world. Noisy streets, neighborly chatter, and the distant hum of city life. Yet, within that modest apartment was a piano, old and worn but lovingly cared for, a beacon of hope and a portal to another world. This young girl was growing up at the crossroads of two realities, the dazzling promise of wealth she glimpsed during occasional visits to her mother's workplace, and the hard, unvarnished truth of her own life. Though she was often treated as an outsider in the mansion, she nurtured a quiet passion that transcended the walls that confined her: music. It was the one thing that connected her to something larger, something beyond class, race, or circumstance. Invisible barriers surrounded her, built from society's unspoken rules about who belongs where, who is worthy of attention, and whose talents are truly valued. These walls were hard to see but felt keenly. Whispers, sideways glances, subtle dismissals that chipped away at confidence over time. The mansion wasn't just a building. It was a fortress of privilege, where opportunities were often reserved for those born into wealth, not those who cleaned their windows. Yet, despite these obstacles, the daughter's spirit remained unbroken. The stage was set for a moment that would shatter assumptions and bridge the divide, revealing that talent and potential are not confined by birthright or social status. This was a story of resilience, courage, and the unexpected power of music to unite disparate worlds. The daughter was a young girl shaped by the rhythms of two worlds, one a hardship, the other a hope. Though her days were marked by the struggles that often accompany life on the margins, her heart beat to the steady cadence of something extraordinary. From an early age, music had been her refuge, a language that transcended words and walls, a place where she could dream freely even when reality pressed heavily on her shoulders. Her introduction to the piano wasn't born out of privilege, but out of necessity and resourcefulness. In the modest apartment she shared with her mother, a second-hand piano sat in the corner, a gift from a neighbor donated with a quiet kindness. The instrument was far from perfect. Its keys were worn and some notes were slightly out of tune. But to her, it was a treasure chest filled with endless possibilities. Each time her fingers touched the keys, she felt a momentary escape, a chance to rewrite her story in melodies. Her days were a balancing act, helping her mother with household chores, attending school, and sneaking moments of practice whenever she could. Often, she stayed up late, long after the house was silent, honing her skills in the soft glow of a lamp, the music weaving through the stillness like a secret promise. She taught herself through old books and videos, relentless in her pursuit of mastery, despite lacking formal lessons or expensive teachers. Her determination was fierce, fueled by a desire not just to play, but to be heard. Yet, outside the music room, life wasn't easy. The girl faced challenges that went beyond the technicalities of piano. She navigated a world where her identity as a daughter of the Maid often shaped how others saw her before they ever heard a single note. In the mansion, she was often invisible or seen through the lens of stereotypes. Questions of belonging and worth hovered over her, unspoken but palpable. At school, she juggled the expectations of teachers and the sometimes harsh judgments of classmates who didn't understand her world. Despite this, she carried herself with quiet dignity. Her humility wasn't a sign of weakness, but a shield against a world quick to judge. She didn't seek the spotlight. Her music was personal, a gift she held close. Yet, deep inside, there was a yearning for recognition, not for fame or fortune, but simply to be acknowledged for who she was and what she could do. This tension between invisibility and brilliance set the stage for an encounter that neither she nor the household could have anticipated. The day the billionaire asked her to play the piano for fun was not just a casual request, but the opening of a door. Behind that door was a possibility to redefine not only how she saw herself, but how others saw her, and by extension, the countless others whose talents go unnoticed simply because of where they come from. Her story is a testament to the power of perseverance and the quiet strength found in pursuing one's passion against all odds. It reminds us that greatness is not confined to grand stages or elite classrooms, but often grows in the shadows, waiting for its moment to shine. The day the billionaire asked the maid's daughter to play the piano for fun began like any other, quiet and unassuming. The request came casually, almost as an afterthought, a simple invitation to fill the room with light-hearted music during a gathering. No one expected what would unfold next. As she approached the grand piano in the opulent living room, the girl felt a surge of nerves mingled with determination. This wasn't just any piano. It was a magnificent instrument, the kind reserved for concert halls and grand performances, far different from the modest, slightly battered piano at her home. She hesitated for a moment, taking in the curious eyes of the guests and the subtle expectations that hung in the air. Then, with a deep breath, she sat down and placed her fingers on the keys. What happened next was nothing short of extraordinary. Her hands moved with fluid grace and precision, effortlessly weaving through complex melodies that spoke of passion, emotion, and mastery beyond her years. The notes filled the room, rising and falling like a story being told without words. Each chord resonated with power and delicacy, carrying the listeners into a world where only music mattered. The guests, previously engrossed in their conversations and champagne glasses, gradually fell silent. Eyes widened in surprise. Whispers stopped midair. The billionaire, who had made the request in a casual tone, sat forward, captivated. Even the staff who had been working quietly in the background paused to listen. It was a moment of collective awe. For many, this was a revelation. The girl who had always been seen as just the maid's daughter was, in fact, A virtuoso, a prodigy whose talent transcended the barriers of social status and expectation. Her music spoke louder than any preconceived notion, shattering stereotypes with each perfect note. But beyond the technical skill, it was the emotion she poured into the performance that moved people most profoundly. The music was a language of hope, struggle, and resilience, an intimate glimpse into her world and soul. Listeners felt the story beneath the melody, the triumph woven into every phrase. As the final chord lingered in the air, the room remained silent for a heartbeat longer than expected. Then, a spontaneous burst of applause erupted, not just polite clapping but genuine admiration. The billionaire's face, usually composed and reserved, softened into a smile of respect and perhaps surprise at how much he had underestimated the girl. That moment marked a turning point, not just for the maid's daughter, but for everyone present. It challenged the house's invisible hierarchy, reminded all who witnessed it that talent and worth cannot be measured by social standing or circumstance. It was a beautiful reminder that sometimes the most profound treasures are found where we least expect them. The echoes of that unforgettable piano performance didn't fade with the last note. Instead, they reverberated to the mansion long after the guests had left and the chandeliers dimmed. What had begun as a simple request had become a catalyst for profound transformation, both personal and social. In the days that followed, the atmosphere within the household shifted subtly but unmistakably. The billionaire, who once saw the maid's daughter merely as an extension of the domestic staff, began to regard her with newfound respect. Conversations that once skirted around the topic of her presence now included genuine curiosity about her talent, her ambitions, and her dreams. This change was not limited to the billionaire alone. Other members of the household, the staff, the family, and even some of the social circle started to challenge their own assumptions. They began to see the girl not just through the lens of her background, but as a young artist with a bright future. Invitations to play at small gatherings, offers for mentorship, and even discussions about scholarships emerged, creating pathways that had once seemed inaccessible. For the daughter herself, this shift was both exhilarating and daunting. Suddenly, doors were opening, but with them came new pressures and expectations. The innocence of playing piano for fun was now intertwined with the weight of opportunity and the challenge of navigating spaces where she had once felt invisible. Yet, her resolve remained strong. She embraced these chances with humility and determination, aware that her journey was about more than personal success. It was about proving that talent can thrive anywhere, that dreams should never be limited by social status, and that the barrier society constructs can and must be dismantled. However, the aftermath was not without its complexities. The relationships within the mansion had to recalibrate. The maid, proud yet cautious, grappled with the implications for her daughter and their lives. There was also a subtle undercurrent of tension, as some questioned whether this newfound attention was genuine or merely a fleeting fascination with novelty. Beyond the walls of the mansion, the story began to spread, a testament to the power of unexpected talent to bridge divides. It sparked conversations about privilege, opportunity, and the importance of recognizing and nurturing hidden gifts in every community. Ultimately, the aftermath was a mosaic of hope, challenge, and growth. It was a reminder that moments of discovery are just the beginning, that real change requires ongoing effort, empathy, and openness to seeing the world and each other in new ways. The story of the billionaire's maid's daughter playing the piano is far more than a single moment of awe. It's a mirror reflecting society's complex and often uncomfortable realities. Beneath the surface of that elegant mansion lie broader questions about how we recognize value, distribute opportunity, and confront the biases embedded in social structures. At its core, this narrative challenges the rigid hierarchies that so often dictate who gets to shine and who remains unseen. Class divisions, while sometimes subtle, create invisible fences that segregate lives and limit possibilities. In many ways, talent is democratized by nature. Anyone can be gifted, regardless of upbringing or circumstance. But opportunity is not. Without access to resources, mentorship, and encouragement, countless talents remain undiscovered, locked behind doors they don't have the key to open. Race and privilege intersect with these class barriers, adding layers of complexity. For many marginalized communities, the journey to recognition is uphill, fraught with systemic obstacles. Stereotypes and preconceived notions about who belongs in spaces of prestige can silence voices before they are heard. The Maid's Daughter story spotlights this struggle, revealing how deeply ingrained assumptions can blind even the most privileged to the richness around them. The moment she played the piano was a breakthrough, but it also serves as a call to action. It urges us to question our own perceptions. How often do we overlook talent because it doesn't come packaged in expected form? How frequently do we mistake circumstances for ability? This story invites us to look beyond surface appearances and to cultivate environments where potential is nurtured, regardless of background. Furthermore, it highlights the importance of allyship and responsibility. The billionaire's decision to ask the girl to play, albeit casual, became a catalyst precisely because he held power and influence. His recognition and subsequent support opened doors that might have otherwise remained closed. This dynamic underscores how those with privilege can use their positions to elevate others, breaking down barriers and fostering inclusivity. In a world grappling with inequality, stories like this shine a light on the transformative power of empathy, openness, and courage. They remind us that talent is everywhere, and when given the chance, it can flourish in the most unexpected places. They challenge institutions to rethink how they identify and support gifted individuals, urging a move towards fairness and equity. Ultimately, this story transcends the confines of a single mansion or a single performance. It is a universal testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the beauty of recognizing worth beyond social divides. It calls on each of us to be more observant, more compassionate, and more willing to break down the walls that separate us from discovering true brilliance. The story of the maid's daughter playing piano in the billionaire's mansion is more than a touching moment. It's a beacon of hope and a powerful reminder that greatness often lies just beneath the surface, waiting for its moment to shine. It teaches us that talent does not discriminate, nor should opportunity. No matter where someone comes from, no matter the obstacles stacked against them, the spark of potential can ignite into brilliance when given even the smallest chance. This narrative challenges us all to reflect on how we view the people around us. Are we quick to judge based on appearance, background, or status? Or do we take the time to truly see, to listen, and to recognize the unique gifts each person carries? Too often, our biases, conscious or unconscious, blind us to the richness in those who live lives different from our own. But change begins with awareness and action. It begins with creating spaces where everyone feels valued and empowered to share their talents without fear or hesitation. It means lifting others up, not by charity alone, but by genuine respect and belief in their potential. It means breaking down the invisible walls of prejudice, opening doors that have long been closed, and nurturing dreams that might otherwise fade away. For the maid's daughter, that day was a turning point, a moment when the world finally paused to acknowledge her gift. But her journey is just one of many, a symbol of countless unheard stories waiting for their own chance to be told. Each of us has the power to be part of this change, to seek out and celebrate hidden brilliance in our communities, schools, workplaces, and homes. In the end, this story is a testament to resilience, courage, and the transformative power of opportunity. It reminds us that when we see beyond boundaries, we enrich not only the lives of others, but also our own. We create a world where talent thrives, diversity flourishes, and human potential is truly realized. So next time you encounter someone whose story or background seems different from yours, remember the girl who played piano for fun. Remember the power of a single moment to change everything. And dare to be the person who opens a door to possibility. Because greatness, after all, is waiting in unexpected places. It's up to us to find it.